why the seat is actually better than the seat. Now here's the big question. Do you sit on her or his right-hand side or left-hand side? There's one more important thing you should be talking about. And do you know what that is? Hey guys and girls on Ask Japanese, it's Kathy Cat. And today we are in our new office, as you can see it right behind me. Now, once we're saying office, there's a word in Japan called There's a word in Japan called office love, meaning office love, meaning if you have a crush on someone in your company, you might want to go and see them for a little bit more. And today we're going to talk about 5 Japanese date hacks. Now, where would you take that person? To the zoo, to the amusement park? Well, the most common type of date you are probably going to get in Japan and probably in your country is going to the restaurant. And there are some things that are very culturally specific to Japan that will help you make scores with the ladies. So these ones are what we're going to be talking about. And some of them might actually apply to girls in your country too. So hold your eyes open for those, take notes. And today we're going to talk about Japanese restaurant date hacks. Also in this video, we would like to compile first date hacks. So if you have a great thing to do on a first date, right now, write it in the comments down below. And everyone else, like up your favorite comments so we can see what maybe date hacks you might have to share with us. I'm looking forward to reading them. So let's go and start the video. At the end of the day, you might be taking a cute Japanese girl from your office to the restaurant. You open the door, the staff will come and greet you, usually at the door here in Japan, and will ask, "Table seki desu ka? Counter seki desu ka?" So you have a choice generally between a seat at the table, a booth, or the counter. Now, I would generally go for the table, but in this situation, what do you think is the better choice? Did you tip for the counter seat or did you tip for the table seat? Actually, if we went for the cozy table seat, you're wrong! I was surprised to hear that too. But there are about 3 reasons why the counter seat is actually better than the table seat. Remember, think of all the former interviews you've seen here on this channel. Japanese people are incredibly shy, and especially Japanese girls often say they don't know what to speak about, how to talk with the other person. Now, having the counter seat is actually a great way to go around this. If they're shy and they're not speaking too much, they don't have to sit right in front of you. They don't have to face you, because again, we spoke about this before. Some Japanese people are still a bit reluctant to keep staring into the other person's eyes. So you're sitting next to each other and there are other things to look at while you're sitting there, which will also not stop the conversation but facilitate the conversation. For example, maybe the bottles of sake or wine that are in front of you, maybe the skill of the chef. There is something to look at, something to keep you entertained, and something you both can communicate about. That's point number 1. But next one, point number 2. Point number 2, you can sit closer to the person. Now think about it. If you sit on the table seat, you usually sit apart from each other, but the counter seats are usually spaced out much less. You're sitting a lot closer to each other. And think about the personal space that everyone has around themselves. You're kind of already sitting in the personal space of the other person. You might be rubbing shoulders a little bit, and that extra closeness makes you get closer to her than actually physically sit next to her like that. If you did the same thing in a table seat and went that close to her or him, it would kind of probably be in their special AT field. Think of Neon Genesis Evangelion. You have your own personal space and they have the AT field with which they kind of have the magical barrier. You're already sitting in their AT field, their comfort zone, their personal space. You're right in there. You're actually a lot closer to each other. Number 3, physical intimacy. Now, if you were to sit on a table, sitting apart, leaning over, grabbing his or her hand is very, very open, and that's a big gesture you kind of want to avoid. Now, I'm not talking about like sexual grabbing. That's probably not so good on your first date. But if you actually, first of all, you might be rubbing shoulders a little bit, or when one or the other person gets up, there might be a nice touch on the back. Or if she goes up to, pick some flowers, if you know what I mean, her legs might gently touch your leg while she gets up and goes to the bathroom. And if you don't know what going to pick some flowers means, there's a video about that one that we have recently done, so be sure to check that one out. So it's natural that your bodies will be in a naturally closer distance. It will not be obvious. And again, sometimes physical contact and then emotional contact can come together. So if you're actually already that close, it will make you feel a lot closer to each other, not just physically, but also emotionally. Quiz round number 2. You have now chosen to take the counter seat, as we have advised you. Now here's the big question. Do you sit on her or his right-hand side or left-hand side? What do you think is the better choice? Think about it. According to the research we have found on the internet, well, a human's heart is normally on the left-hand side. Meaning, sitting on the left-hand side, you open up yourself to being vulnerable, and some people like to apparently unconsciously protect their left-hand side, which means if you sit on their right-hand side, you are sitting in the right place. They might feel more comfortable and a little bit more at ease if you're sitting on the right-hand side. Also, many people are right-handed, which means you're sitting on their stronger side. They feel like they can still kind of protect themselves and you're not taking that power away from them. So, if you picked sitting on the right-hand side to the person you are with, you are picking the right choice. In Japan, there are such things called hone and tatemae. Hone and tatemae are the true feelings and the kind of feelings you put up in society that are maybe just a barrier. Now, they say that in Japan, people show their left side more when they talk about hone, their true or their real feelings. And since you will be revealing your vulnerable side with your heart and your hone side to her, it shows that you're open, that you're available, that you're making yourself almost kind of vulnerable to her. So this is actually the best side to sit on. Show your left-hand side. Verified this is by Psychology or similar, but what we could see online, a lot of people seem to agree. So, that's an interesting extra fact there, right? Paper driver is a word for people in Japan who have a driver's license, but they kind of never really drive a car themselves. And actually, there are a lot of paper drivers. 20 to 30% of people who got their license actually don't end up driving. But among them, 60% are girls. Why? In Japan, the driver sits on the right-hand side and the passenger on the left-hand side. That's exactly the scenario we are talking about. So again, she will be sitting in a kind of setup that she might know from, her parents or her dad driving her, maybe feels accustomed to this kind of sitting, and that's another reason why apparently sitting on the right-hand side of a Japanese girl is better than sitting on her left-hand side. Who would have guessed? Kind of interesting. Girls, if you have a driver's license, you should use it. Says me, who hasn't driven even though I have a license. Oops. NEXT! Date step number 3. Now you have gone accustomed to the restaurant. You're sitting there, the atmosphere is right, and you have a lot of things that you can talk with her about. You can praise the quality of the food, the lighting in the room, the atmosphere. You can praise a couple of things and talk with her about that. But there's one important thing that you should praise her. It's one important thing that you should direct. You're making funny faces behind the camera. I can't look at you. There's one more important thing you should be talking about with her and in general to make this evening a success. And do you know what that is? The one topic you should talk about, and with actually, is the staff of the restaurant. Now, flipping back to some of the street interviews we have done here in Tokyo, one of the most biggest no-goes for Japanese girls was guys who are rude to staff. Many Japanese boys will talk down to staff, they will drop their keigo, their polite language, or just treat them like servants. That kind of behavior is an absolute no. That's like the death of the date. And similar, if you turn this the other way around, you can really get some plus points. If the staff comes over, talk with the staff, praise the staff, or maybe ask them interesting questions like, what kind of ingredients were you using in this? Or this wine tastes really good. What age is this one? So by that way, you'll show how good you are in communication with other people and not just with the girl you're trying to impress, because she knows you're trying to impress her. But if you're also good communicating with the people outside the circle of you two, it shows how you also are with other people. So don't just be nice to her, be nice to everyone around you in the restaurant. And when you're talking with the staff, you can really show your knowledge about food, maybe your knowledge about wine or general things. So you can talk with the staff, get some extra information, and the more inquisitive you are, it will show to the girl what do you know about these things, how you actually interact with other people, and how much you actually, are good at food things. It makes you look clever. No, by me saying good at food things, I didn't make myself look clever. But generally, yes. Be a nice person. It shouldn't be that hard, but you can actually appear kind of clever if you ask some very food-specific questions to the staff. So yeah, make yourself look smart. Number 4, your date is drawing to a close, but there's always gonna be the big issue. What are you gonna do with the bill? How are you gonna pay the bill? Now, here the quiz this time is, are you gonna go and charge in like a samurai and talk about it, or are you gonna be a ninja with it? Let me know. What do you think is the right way here in Japan? Samurai or ninja? The answer is ninja. Now, what do I mean by that? You know that the director is often behind the camera, he hides his face, and he's very good at being a ninja, and not only while filming, but also when we're going to the restaurant. So for example, me and a couple of friends from abroad were having a meal with the director, and he ninja'd it up. While he went to the bathroom, he sneaky paid the bill for all of us, and it kind of takes the whole thing away of like, who pays, you pays, I pay, how do we split the bill, everyone like playing around with coins on the table. No, none of that. It is so clever and it's so smart, and if you do that right on a date, when you you go to the bathroom, you come back, and the bill is just paid. It's hassle-free. It's not the big thing of like, oh, look at me, I'm paying your bill. Oh. None of that. It's just like, smooth, easily sorted. And that's kind of cool. That's a thing I've only seen here in Japan, and it's super clever. And seriously, if you can do that right, it is impressive because it just takes all the hassle out. Of course, if you want to, you can go in like a samurai and go like, hey, how are we gonna do this with the bill? Should I pay? Do you want to pay? Shall we split the bill? And some Japanese girls don't mind splitting the bill on a date, but it's kind of cool if you just do it, get it sorted, and don't make a big deal about it. It is pretty ninja smart. Be ninja smart. I think be ninja smart, especially on your first date. You can do it.
やるじゃないか。
Now question, should you be doing this? Should you pay the bill while she goes to the bathroom? No, you should not. Number one of the reasons for that being, she might catch you out when she comes back from the bathroom a little bit earlier. The staff maybe takes longer time to prepare the bill. Then she might catch you out doing that, and then she might go, oh no, I'll do it or something, and then you have the whole hassle that you're trying to avoid. Also, if you, for example, have to go to the counter to pay the bill while she's on the bathroom, that might mean that your or her luggage is getting left alone. And a girl isn't impressed if you leave her handbag all alone and you don't look after it because you're paying the bill. So it is better that you go to the bathroom and on the way back, you pay the bill. Don't make a big deal out of it. She doesn't even have to see it, and you're done. That's how it's done. So those are date hacks if you go to a restaurant with a Japanese girl or maybe even with a Japanese boy. Now again, do you have to pay the bill as a guy? You don't have to. Some girls don't mind sharing, but generally it's seen as a good manner, good habit, just a good thing, especially on the first date if you take care of the bill. You don't have to, but it just looks better, and most Japanese boys do it anyways. It's kind of like a male pride of like, I pay the bill for you. And since guys in Japan earn generally more than girls do, it's kind of also a little bit of a, I earn a little bit better. It's fine. I'll take care of the bill. That's one of the things, but I must say the sneaky, not having the argument who pays the bill, but just ninjaing it and having it paid for is one of the most brilliant things. And again, it doesn't just have to be in a date environment. Like I said, the director paid the bill for a couple of friends who came over from America for us. Thank you, director. That was pretty cool. Everyone was super impressed. So you definitely get brownie points if you do the ninja method. That was pretty cool. So those kind of things. I hope you learned something new. I learned a couple of new things when we looked into this topic, so that was actually refreshing, very different. Is there anything culturally specific to you and your country that's similar, or did any of these things that I told you surprise you? Let us know in the comments down below. As always, we are counting on you to give this video a like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. We would love to send you more here from Tokyo so you can enjoy some more facts about Japanese culture that might help you out in the future. I hope you have a great day. Thanks for hanging out here on Ask Japanese, and I'll catch you soon. Bye!